recording, and Reem will be handling the backstage, the live stream. So Reem, when we're set up, as always, just we'll get a hint and we'll start.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, thank you everyone for joining, and welcome. My name is Jennifer Figueroa, and
I didn't think we'd not start yet. Reem, are we on?
No, just a second.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we're on.
Okay. We're live streaming. So hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Figueroa. I'm the Director of International Student and Scholar Services at Bucknell University, which is located in the United States. It's in central Pennsylvania, which is a place that you might not have thought of studying, but maybe after this, you might consider it a little more. We are in the heart of the state in a pretty rural area, but also fairly accessible to major cities. So you can hop on a bus or take a car and be in New York City in about 3.5 hours. Also about 3 hours to Washington, D.C. or Baltimore or Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. So there are many large cities that are not that far away, but as I said, it is a very rural area. Reem also had some experience at Bucknell. She's on the call now, so she might add in some of her thoughts about that. But what I'm here today to talk to you about is applying to universities in the US and what you might expect. Obviously, I'm going to be speaking today about what we offer at Bucknell and what you might experience if you were to come to Bucknell. But at many universities in the US, you could find similar types of support structures and experiences. So this is just a highlight of one example. And certainly each place is going to have its own nuanced programs, and it's going to be different depending on obviously where you're studying. So an experience in central Pennsylvania is not going to look the same as an experience in Houston, Texas, or in the middle of New York City, right? So with that, let me share my screen. Give me just a moment. Okay, so if I'm going to, there we go. So you can now see this. What I've pulled together are some highlights about what you might encounter, obviously, again, attending Bucknell and the kinds of support that you get here, but also a lot of this is applicable to study in many places in the United States. So here we kind of have a tagline that we say, many nations, one Bucknell, that we all come together under one Bucknell identity, despite where you're coming from, what your background is, what your culture is. And we have a very welcoming community. We also have a very peaceful location. Many students are initially shocked by the quietness here. It is a very small town, but that also means that, it's a little easier to study. And two, that the university works very hard to provide a lot of different kinds of programs and experiences and fun activities for the students while they're here. So for starters, I'll just insert some photos throughout. You're going to see lots of different pictures that reflect orientation and other fun activities that we have. But this gives you also a glimpse of our spaces while I'm at it. So with outreach and initial support, whenever you start looking into a university, many places will work on connecting you with current students. Definitely once you are admitted, We work very hard to connect you with current students, and if you're interested and willing, we will buddy you or mentor you with a student that hopefully has something in common, right? So that maybe your major, intended major, it may be where you're from, and we will try our best to connect you with someone that is going to be a support person for you from the time of admission until the time that you arrive or later. My office also works on answering your questions and supporting your parents' questions and planning in moving forward in coming to the United States. We also work on issuing your document for your visa as fast as possible, because we know that that is an issue in many countries. We still have a lot of visa backlogs at US embassies. So we know that that is an issue, and we work on giving you the documents as fast as we can. Some of that is unfortunately hindered by statutes of how fast they are allowed to issue you the visa. So to give you an example, you can't actually obtain a US F1 visa more than 6 months in advance of when you, or no, 4 months before you can study. So if you're coming with a program start date of August, even if you are approved, the US Embassy cannot actually issue you that visa and give it back to you until sometime in April. As far as our office outreach, we do periodic updates and newsletters from the Office of International Student and Scholar Services from the time of admission through the summer. And we hit you with those things in terms of, you know, what you might be planning for, what you're thinking about packing, what arrival support you need. The university offers airport shuttles. That may not be offered at every institution, but we do that here in particular because we're in a rural area. So we realize that we need to offer airport shuttles to get you in from those major city airports. Something unique that Bucknell does is we send student leaders on the shuttle to meet you coming in. So we know that especially the JFK airport in New York can be very overwhelming. We send students there to meet you and ride on the bus coming back with you as a welcoming trend. And then once you get on campus, we have all kinds of support and move-in assistance and welcoming from the student leader staff. So we send staff along. Like I said, some of these photos are pictures of folks right after they arrived or heading out to the airport to support the new students. And whenever you get here, we have orientation. So orientation is run in part by student leaders. So second years, third years, fourth years, who understand what you're going through. They've gone through a lot of training to be in that position. They've gone through a competitive selection process, and they are often international students as well. Most of the time they are. We have a lot of programs to have fun and get to know each other, get to know the other students in the program, and also to help you learn your way around campus. We provide resource support, like opening bank accounts, obtaining social security numbers so that you can work, setting up cell phones, and campus resource support, including meeting with deans, meeting with librarians, helping make sure that your phone works on the Wi-Fi, internet, all of those kinds of things. We run workshops and fun programs that address diversity, homesickness, cultural difference, life in the US, academic expectations in the US. And we really make this engaging and fun. So some of this could be very dry material, but we find a lot of fun ways to work through this. And some of it is in large groups, some of it is through small group discussion. So it's very approachable, no matter what your personality is, or, you know, what feels more comfortable for you. We're going to have something that fits for you. You'll leave the program with additional knowledge about other cultures, many new connections and friendships, and a very strong community base that you can rely on for the next 4 years here. We've renamed this program Global Connections, Cultures, and Community, or GC3, because we feel that really reflects what we're doing in this program. So if you were to come here, you would hear the students talking about GC3 and being involved in GC3. So here are some photos. This one's actually from this year. We were doing a shared art project. If you've never done one of these, you actually fold the paper over so that you can't see what the previous person drew, and then you have to draw another portion of the prompt. So if the prompt was draw a person, then several different people wind up drawing pieces of it along the way. And everyone had a lot of fun with this. We also had campus RAs, who are student leaders that work in the residence halls, joined us for this program. So they were getting a chance to get to know some of the first year students early on. This is a glimpse of some previous photos from the orientation and from other activities that we've done throughout the year. We've gone to ropes courses. What you see on the right are some students that are holding the line for someone that's climbing. So they're holding the belay. And on the left is a prompt for one of the activities during the orientation, during the GC3. Here's another one. The students are drawing and having to draw a bison, but without having to look at it. So Bucknell's mascot is a bison, Bucky Bison. So we tested their art skills to see who could come up with a strong bison. And here's one that sometimes we can play in a large field. It's a huge parachute, and you play some icebreakers, lifting the parachute up and down. So in talking about what you might expect coming here for 4 years and beyond, my office specifically supports immigration advising and all kinds of support related to that. So advising you on getting the F1 visa, arrival in the United States, working on campus, obtaining internships, and seeking jobs after graduation will help you with the work authorizations that you might need for those opportunities. We have cultural engagement programs for additional learning on campus. We have lots of fun events and programs to build community and connections with other students. We also have an international community campus gathering where we invite international faculty and staff, and we do that periodically throughout the year. That's been really nice, and everyone really enjoys getting the chance to know faculty members that may have once come here as an international student themselves. We also run a host family program, which is really a friendship program because you live on campus at Bucknell. Bucknell is a residential education institution, and what we offer is an optional program to be matched based on interest with someone else in the community. So that might be a faculty or staff, or it might be someone who lives locally. And we've made some really great connections over the years with students and families that, maybe they just really enjoy getting together for a home cooked meal. Sometimes we've matched based on interests like playing tennis or golf or a love of music or anything like that. So that's a really great program. Many schools offer some kind of host family connection, and I would encourage you to explore that if you can. This specifically, what I've written here highlights what my office is involved with primarily, but I will add that the university also, obviously many other areas of the university provide extensive resources, many campus programs, all kinds of fun trivia and bingo, and many, many opportunities. We had some goat yoga on the quad, which is the big open space in front of the library. And one evening, one of the campus offices held a yoga session and brought some goats there to be doing yoga along in the session. So, there are many, many fun things that you might find happening on campus at any sort of time. We've run some different international events where students have hosted tables and help folks to learn about their country, and sometimes involving food. I know the Brazilians had some chocolates that they're very proud of at that event, and lots of different times that we do things just for fun, just to have some laughs. And actually, this photo was taken at a local farm that offers excursions, and we take students out there. Sometimes they have a corn maze where you can explore and try to, see how fast you can get out of the maze. And it's cut through a huge field of corn, and many other things you can do out there. So I inserted this in case folks on the call might have some questions about how you even get to study in the United States, what type of visa that is, those sorts of things. So the immigration basics, you're going to come to the United States on an F1 visa. That's the vast majority. You might come on a J, but that would be based on some special funding. Schools cannot intervene in the visa issuance process, but we can help advise you on being successful. And of course, folks at Education USA are also very helpful with this. Once you come to the US, you're not allowed to work off campus, but you can work on campus for 20 hours a week, so you can have a campus job. You can also work full-time during the summer. So if you're not in school, but you stay on campus over the summer at Bucknell, we do allow you to stay over the summer if that's something that you want. And you could actually work even 40 hours a week during the summer on campus. If you go for an internship while you're studying, get a summer internship, or you graduate and you want to work in the United States afterward, there are special permissions you can obtain to do those. And we can help you do that. The folks in International Student and Scholar Services can help with that. You must study full time and you can't fail out. That's kind of a basic on the visa, but it is serious. You have to keep up your coursework. And you could actually study abroad. Occasionally we have international students who come here, study here as an international student, and then also do a semester abroad somewhere else. So that's a really interesting phenomenon. And if you're able to do it, if your institution supports it, then that's a great chance to have even more cultural exposure. So this was from the end of our GC3 orientation program this year. Everyone's so happy. And this just are great pictures that show you the fun that we have throughout the year with different activities. And even masked, we still managed to have a good time. So this was one taken in the last year or previous year, and we are still doing just fine. So I hope these photos and this recap is helpful to get you thinking about questions that you might have about studying in the US or studying specifically at Bucknell. As I said, each different institution and each different place is going to have their own ways that they go about helping to best support your arrival. And then obviously the student experience is going to vary significantly from campus to campus. The difference, or one thing you might look at if you're considering Bucknell specifically, we are a liberal arts institution. That means that you come in and really gain that broader experience, broader exposure to different courses, different ways of thinking, different perspectives. That's really the goal with liberal arts, is to graduate with diverse perspectives. And the other part that sets Bucknell apart a little bit, even from liberal arts, is that we do offer a very strong engineering program. and a strong College of Management. So we have the College of Arts and Sciences, the College of Management, and the College of Engineering. And we even offer a 5-year program where you can earn 2 bachelor's degrees. You can get one in engineering and 1 degree that's in either arts and sciences or management. So with that, I will end my slideshow and open it up for questions. Or maybe if Reem is at a space where she can jump in, she can add anything that she wants to add as she came to Bucknell years ago herself.
Yeah, I would really like to share my experience. So I remember like when I arrived at JFK, as you said, Jennifer, it was really overwhelming. It's too big, like you didn't know anybody, and like all of a sudden, like someone came to me. I remember he was Tenda. He was an IOL international orientation leader, and he was like, "Yeah, your name is like no big thing for you." And like since then, I really considered, I family to me. Even after after university, like ISS was always a place where we can go and ask, and all international students like knew each other from the orientation, and they became like really friends and supported each other, especially like in the clubs. By the way, like whatever you're interested in, like there is a club at Bucknell that's about it. Languages, skills, hobbies, anything. And also like ISS, like they always used to to organize like activities for international students, especially that like most international students at Bucknell, like they come like on the limited budget. So they always organize activities where international students used to, like experience like stuff in the US. Like for example, once we went ice skating. Like for me, it was like ever. Also, like for Thanksgiving, we have participated in the host family collection. I really met a nice family, the Guggenheims. I'm still in contact with them till now. So like you really see this from ISS, from ISS, like but also from all the international student community. But then as you get to know each other, you become friends with them, you become friends with people from all over the world. You participate in like in events for other clubs, some other like cultures. I remember we participated in like the Asian gala with the like pasta, Arabic club, Italian club, French club. They were all so fun and interesting, and like really eye-opening for other cultures and other backgrounds of the world. So yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you, Reem. Some of your audio cut out for me, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure of all that you covered, but I did hear you talk a lot about, the connections that you made early on with the student leaders and continuing those friendships. And that's something that a lot of our students talk about, is the connections that they make during the orientation program, during what we now call GC3, that those really last, they really continue. And especially for a first-year student, it is so important just to be able to walk out across campus and see someone who recognizes you, who knows how to pronounce your name, and who greets you with a smile and is able to say, "Hey, I'm so glad to see you today. How are you?" Right? And we stop and we listen. And certainly that experience is not going to be the same at every place, but we work really hard to build that here. Also the engagement, as she pointed out, obviously we have, as I mentioned, many different kinds of campus programs and special events. We have large concerts that we artists that we bring to campus. We also have a performing arts center that brings in many different kinds of amazing international shows, dances, acrobatics, musical ensembles, classical symphonies, all different kinds of performances that come to campus. And then the clubs, as I did hear Reem mention, we do have over 200 clubs on campus. There is a club for anything that might interest you. And if you really don't find the organization that you think that you want to have, then you can start your own. So with a few signatures of some like-minded friends, then you can start your own club if you want a club for a specific purpose and you don't see it here already. So we're definitely very open and nimble with supporting wherever you are and what the interest is. In terms of living on campus, you live on campus here most likely for all of your 4 years. You might apply to live off campus your senior year, but we have very limited spots to live off campus, and most seniors actually prefer to live on campus because the senior living on campus is apartment style. So you have a nice apartment that has a full kitchen, some living space, and then some single bedrooms that are shared within that living space. So it's a great opportunity to gather with friends and live in one of those and still be very close walking distance to your classes and, you know, wherever you need to head. Housing for first years is generally doubles, although there are some exceptions to that. But that means that you'll be housed with a roommate. You can choose to live in what's called residential colleges, which is themed living. And that's a really great opportunity for students. A lot of international students take part in that. We have many different themes that you can choose from. A global one, a society and technology one, a languages one, and every year it seems like they add another one. But you live on a hall with students who all selected the same theme, and then you also have a class together called a common hour where you discuss those topics. Sometimes they take trips together. Your sophomore year, you can choose where you want to live on campus. That's available, but one of the common choices is affinity houses. We have many different affinity houses on campus, and those are spaces that you can join in with friends, again, around a common theme, but you might even invent that theme and get some common signatures for it. One of the affinity houses that I would mention would be the Global House. We call it Global Home. And that is really a place where a lot of international students like to live. They hang up their flags there. They cook communally. And in fact, on Saturday, they're holding a Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving celebration that will be a potluck that everyone can pop into. And international students pull in their American friends there as well. So it definitely is a mixed household. It is not only international, but it's a place where, you know, if you enjoy exposure to other cultures and different foods, it's a really great place to live. And then juniors usually have some apartment style living as well. And then seniors usually vie for the newest apartment style living on campus that I mentioned. So that covers the essence of the residential community. I know Reem talked about the clubs, about the connections, and keeping the connections. I know a lot of students have kept those connections through the orientation program or with their host families long after they've left the institution. So I do think that connection is a really important thing to look at and how that is supported and how that is maintained. For those of you on the call, if you have any questions, if you are thinking about a particular major or you have questions just about coming to the US in general, I'm happy to answer that. You can put it in the chat, whatever you might like to ask.
All right. I'll ask in the meantime when until if anyone has a question, they could just maybe think it up or write it up. I'm interested in, I mean, in the research we've done on Bucknell. So much things that I think we might need like more than one session to like cover up the international experience that students would get there. You said something about the 5-year program where students can graduate with a double degree. That's very interesting. Like engineering and in arts or sciences, or is it strictly in arts?
You can pair it how you wish. So it's specifically engineering for one, and then another major for the second. So it can be engineering, and your choice of engineering, right? It might be civil, it might be mechanical, it might be chemical engineering, out of whichever ones, or computer science and engineering is another one that we have. And then you can pair that with a second major. So the second major could be something from arts and sciences, which is very broad, right? That could be physics, it could be economics, it could be sociology, it could be theater, you know, or it could be from the College of Management. So you could also do engineering and also a degree in marketing, for example.
So when I'm going in the graduation ceremony, I would receive like 2 degrees.
Yes.
Oh, very interesting.
Yes, that's actually, you know, they call it a double major, but it is actually a dual degree. That program, you do an extra year, you do 5 years, but you earn 2 degrees with it.
I see. That's a very interesting choice. I mean, the flexibility and the diversity in the programs. Yesterday at Rice University, also we knew that options, like you can directly apply to a PhD from your bachelor's. So kind of, these are really, they might not be new ideas to students in the US, but they're definitely new ideas for students who are really tight on time and they really want to like get it over with, especially the PhD, because it's really like time consuming. Any extension programs? Do you offer extension programs or any service programs?
What do you mean by?
Like extension programs as in like continuing education, maybe in some professional fields?
No, we do have a lot of community engagement opportunities if you're wanting to, you know, volunteer in the community, if you're wanting to, you know, gain experience in the local school system, or, you know, we also have a farm on campus where we grow a lot of produce and students can get experience from start to finish on how plants are grown and cultivated. It's a very green living experience. And then the produce is either used by the students helping. It also, some of it will go to the food pantry we have on campus. And then some of it is donated to the local community, to food banks that are supporting folks in need. So we do have different ways to be involved and to be supporting social endeavors. We also have a master's, we have a few master's degrees here, although we are a primarily undergraduate focused institution, but we do offer a few limited masters in a couple of engineering programs. We also have a master's in chemistry. And I believe, I am not an expert on this, but I believe you have a way, as you were mentioning, on being tight on time. I believe there is a way to apply to the master's in chemistry while you're a bachelor's in chemistry student, and then extend your time and then graduate with both. Again, maybe do 5 years, but then manage to get out with a bachelor's and a master's.
So like something similar to an accelerated track?
Right.
Okay. And about the languages, I mean, also we shared some ideas with Reem once when she assumed her role at Education USA, about the presence of Arabic specifically, and language and culture and the other languages. I mean, also that's a great thing that you have a school of languages offering about 7, 8 languages as well.
Mm-hmm. We have, yes, we don't have majors in all of those, but we are offering several courses in many different languages, including Italian, Arabic, Hebrew, some languages that are not so commonly taught. We also have East Asian languages. We have Chinese, Japanese, and of course, the usual Spanish, French,
Yeah.
so
German, any German?
and German and Russian as well.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun, especially with all the activities that you described at the very beginning. Sounds like a very student-centered university compared to the other programs we've seen so far in our program. So yeah, very interesting.
Yes, I think one of the things that sets Bucknell apart is it is very student-centered. As I said, it's undergraduate focused. So we spend more of our effort, more of our energy on making sure that that you're settling in, that you're having a good experience, and that if you're not, that we can get to the bottom of what's happening so that we can best, support the individual student. We're able to do that because we're not all that large. In total, we have about 3,600 students, so 3,600 students, and that includes graduate students as well. So it's still a number that is manageable. The campus may feel a little bit large for some students.
It's huge, yeah. It's huge for 3,600.
It may feel large walking from one end to the other, but I will say that, compared to a large public institution, the footprint is very small. So, I previously worked at a large public, and, you would need to take a bus from one end to the other because it was that big. Bucknell does run a shuttle around campus, and it also goes downtown. It also takes you to the grocery store. If you need, to get out to the grocery store, we have some local transit that we provide. But while Reem said the campus is large, but it is manageable. You can probably walk from one end to the other at a moderate pace and be there in about 20 minutes. And it's very green. So I will emphasize many students, one of the deciding factors is they look at the photos, or if they're able to come here to see it, and they realize that it is a very, very beautiful campus, and it makes it just a very nice place to get out and walk around, or just sit outside and study while you're sitting on a bench, because it's very beautiful. There are some trees that are planted that flower in the spring, and they have huge pink flowers. I don't know the name of the tree, but it's and in the fall it's gorgeous because of the leaves change colors here in the fall. So you get a lot of reds and yellows and oranges, and that kind of lights up the campus very beautifully. In the winter, we do get snow, so you can enjoy snow. You can play in the snow outside. So the campus, yes, it's all built kind of architecturally similar. And it's got a lot of nice green space and nice trees and things. So a lot of students find they really like that backdrop for being able to have a very peaceful existence while they study and spend their time getting their degree here.
Yeah, it's often a very recurrent observation I take from people who go to the US. I mean, it's so green. I mean, everywhere you go, it's so green. I mean, especially in when you go to the East Coast, so especially Washington, DC, when you're leaving the airport and going to the city, it's everywhere, as if I mean, the United States is a continent. It's like you have all the space you need to just plant it over with parks and trees. But all for the person's mental and sanity, and it makes it a really peaceful campus, especially with a small number of students, which I assume makes the student to faculty ratio also a very good ratio. So
right. Right. And that can vary a little bit department to department, and some of the, required first year courses can be slightly larger, but it's nothing compared to, a very large institution. And that's nothing against those institutions. Maybe that is the best choice for you. But the experience here, most likely your courses are going to be, an average faculty student to faculty ratio would be 1:8 or 1:10. You know, it's
Yeah.
going to be low. You definitely get to know the faculty here. As a student, we encourage you to use office hours, and that's not just because of good practice of, you know, asking if you're needing help, asking if you didn't understand something that was covered in class, but the faculty actually want to teach and want to hear from you and want to get to know you. And that's something that I hear over and over again from our students, is how much they value those relationships with the faculty. One thing that I did not mention that that might be interesting to some of you is that Bucknell being undergraduate focused, but our faculty are still engaged in research. We have research opportunities for undergraduate students, which is incredibly rare. Most of the time, you're not able to engage in research until you're in a graduate program, until you're in a master's or a PhD. But at Bucknell, you can engage in summer research, and in some cases continue it during the academic year. But many students do this as an option during the summer, especially after their first year. They might do summer research because it may not be so easy to go home. Maybe it's pretty tough to get an internship. You've only been in the US for 9 months. You're not quite ready for the internship yet. And you do summer research with a faculty on whatever they're already researching, and you apply. They can select you to be their research assistant. And in some cases that can continue throughout the academic year into the next year, or maybe the next summer you do a different research project with someone else. But in some cases, students wind up being a co-author on a published research paper by the time that they graduate. So that is an incredible opportunity, especially if you're thinking about grad school, if you're thinking about going into a master's or a PhD, and you can say that you already know what research means because you've done it, and then you can use that faculty as, you know, obviously your reference. And if you are published, that you know, that is like a golden ticket into many PhD programs, to be able to say that you're already published when you are an undergraduate.
Exactly. And this is the major challenge. I mean, when you go into graduate studies, it's the publish or perish, right? So getting a something published at an earlier, during your undergraduate years, is definitely an advantage for grad school application. All right. So we have a question from Noor in the chat. Is studying medicine in USA like Lebanon? Do you have to study biology in university first and then apply to medical school?
Yes, you have to do a pre-med program in the United States. So some universities have an actual major that is called pre-med, and you would major in pre-med and then go into med school. At Bucknell, we don't have a pre-med as a major, but you can major in biology. Many students do, and then go into med school. So that would be the common practice here at our institution. But yes, it sounds like Lebanon has the same approach in terms of doing the undergraduate and then med school as the graduate program.
Yeah, I can just chime in here. And the thing with Lebanon is that there are many systems in Lebanon. So the US system is basically in AUB and LAU, the only two American universities. But there is also a French variation of the system, which is in the Lebanese University and some other universities using the French system. And Noor, if you're really interested in medicine, our next session after Jennifer's session will be about medicine in the US. So do make sure to attend that session and direct all questions medical related to the representative in that session from Harvard Medical School. So she'd definitely have your answers, and we'll give you all the details on applying to the US to medical school, especially for international students. Now, things are sometimes very different for international students, so you need to know what are the requirements for you Unless you have a US passport, then that's a different story. All right, other questions? Right, and as always, if you don't have a question now, you may develop a question later. Please feel free to reach out to us or reach out to Jennifer if she does not mind that for your applications. There you go. Jennifer's email is in the chat. I would like to thank you so much, Jennifer, and it was a pleasure to meet you. Definitely the student experience at Bucknell is something interesting to consider, especially with all the kind of fun activities you described at the very beginning. I'd like to thank you again for joining us. Reem, you want to add something?
Thank you so much, Jennifer. It was really great to see and like share my experience and to share like life at Bucknell and to encourage people to like you know, go to Bucknell.
Perfect.
I appreciate.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I appreciate your time. I put the office email there as it's easier, so you can just reach iss@bucknell.edu, and I will see it. I will answer it if you're reaching out on that. And as much fun as we have, it is hopefully I painted the picture that it is an academically rigorous institution, but our students do very well in obtaining jobs post-graduation or grad school, so whatever the direction that you're heading. We have lots of statistics to back that up. I made my presentation more about what my office is involved in and supporting the international student experience explicitly, but definitely if you're encouraged by what you've heard and you want to look into it further, I would encourage you to do so.
Oh, certainly. I mean, our attendees have heard a lot about academics for the past 4 days during the events. So this is great, as in the focus on what kind of student activities there are. And as you said, each university has its own experience, its own culture, its own values and mission, and all universities, each place is going to have its own experience. Well, we have one Bucknell alumni, which is Reem, in our office. We'll happy to have that, and definitely, probably we're going to have about 1 or 2 applications coming from our Education USA Competitive College Club to Bucknell, hopefully. So we hope to see more of our students getting into such a good green university. So thank you again, and we hope to stay in touch, and maybe have a session later focusing on Bucknell from an academic perspective. Sure. What do they require in terms of admission requirements and the different programs? So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.